Hello and welcome to Evoloshen's Team Ask Me Anything group call, where we are going to be sharing questions that we have all received from our clients and our networks in terms of questions around engagement. So my name is Corinne Alluvium. I'm the Chief Joybringer and founder of Evoloshen, and I have my wonderful team members, not everyone is here today, but many of them, who are going to share some questions coming from their different locations of where we are. So I'd like to introduce you to some of the wonderful team members of Evoloshen, and we'll just kind of go in a little round circle here. I'll call on Paul first. Paul, if you can just make a little introduction of yourself, that would be great.
Certainly. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the call. I'm Paul Ruiz. I'm the cool CIQ coach navigator, coaching out of Manila in the Philippines, that's in Southeast Asia. I'm very happy to be part of the Evoloshen Executive Partnership Group in the call right now, and I'm representing all our engaged and connected members from Southeast Asia. Shall I proceed with my question, Karen?
I think we'll go on around just to introduce everybody, and then we'll go straight to the questions. So we'll come back to you, Paul. All right. Corinne, you're next on my little round circle here, so go ahead.
Okay. My name is Corinne Alluvium. I'm currently, I'm sitting here in Sweden, in Stockholm. And my title with Evoloshen is Chief Energy Engineer. And very briefly, I work with both HR, leadership training, and I'm also a CIQ coach, of course, like Paul, and like all of us, I guess. Been working with leadership and team training since, I can't remember, in the 90s. So that's me.
Great. Thank you, Corinne. All right, Pearl, you're next.
My name is Pearl Pang, and I am the Chief Innovation Officer of Evoloshen, and I'm based in Boston, Massachusetts. My background has been in working closely with C-suite executives and their senior teams in transformation of the business. And it's been thrilled. I'm so thrilled to be with this panel and coming here to answer all the questions. And I'm here to learn as well. So looking forward for this cool meeting here.
Great. Thank you so much, Pearl. All right, Brett, down under. Okay. Tell us about yourself.
Okay. Hi, guys. I'm Brett Radford. My title is... it's a long one. Chief Transformational Specialist. I live in Brisbane. I'm a New Zealander, but live down under in Australia. I've worked in the electricity industry and worked for a global engineering giant for most of my working life. And I've got a big passion for developing people, in particular leadership and culture. So welcome.
Great. Thank you so much, Brett. And last but not least, Vivian.
Hi, everyone. I'm Vivian Hunt. I'm the Chief Change Maker at Evoloshen. And I'm based in London, in the UK, in the United Kingdom. My area of expertise is working with organizations to help create healthy work environments. And to transform cultures. So I'm also a CIQ certified coach, and I'm excited to be on this call. Thanks.
Great, thank you so much. So as I mentioned, we have collected questions, and basically each person is going to share a question that they have gotten from their network, and then we'll just have a discussion around that on our team to come up with what insights that we can all share from our different backgrounds and experiences. So I guess we'll just continue in the round circle since that's what we've kind of started with. So Paul, yes, absolutely. You can go with the question first. Why don't you share with us the question you've gotten, and then we can give some insights from here.
Thanks, Karen. My question from my two current coaching clients. I'm currently coaching a second-generation entrepreneur who's running niche businesses in transportation, in general services. And his question was, Paul, do Asian companies fare the same or differently in terms of this seeming global downturn in employee engagement? And he followed it up with, since we're in planning, what's the best practice in budgeting for engagement? Any ideal ratios to plan for to get the best impact? That's my question.
Okay, so I think just basically anybody who wants to, step in here, that would be great. I can just share really briefly with the experience I've had with clients going through our online certification training that were basically in lots of different countries, and we did have some Asians there. And what I learned from having people in different countries and then comparing to what was happening in Asia is that they are a little bit farther behind on the engagement path, in the sense that they're not talking about it as much as maybe Western countries have been, but it's definitely starting to be on their radar and starting to be something of interest for them. Who else wants to add a little bit to this?
I can add something. It won't be about my experience in Asia, because I haven't actually worked in Asia, but I've worked in many other countries, and one that springs to mind is Africa and Namibia. And I think that, I don't know if this will help with your question, Paul, but my experience is if the management and the leaders of the organisation are open to to engagement, then the people you'll find that it wouldn't matter which country that you're in, the people that are actually employed with the organisation, they will just take off and add value to the business when they've got that opportunity that's the leaders present them. So I think personally that really does depend on who is actually leading the organisation as to whether or not that opportunity would exist. Mm-hmm. That's my experience anyway from working in developing countries.
Mm-hmm.
Cool, thanks.
And I'd just like to add as well that what I'm noticing is more companies are really working cross-culturally, there's a lot of, it's not just thinking of one region or one country, more having a very global view and everybody on the same page. And I see a lot more sort of openness to working as a global organization rather than just on a national level.
And my personal experience has been coming from Asia myself, as well as working with quite some countries in Asia. Again, echoing what Brett has mentioned, it's really depending on the leadership. That said, the Asian countries tend to have engaged employees in pockets, and they have absolutely are tying into the culture, not just the culture of the country, but culture, of the business as well. So when we talk about the employee engagement, that's typically something that needs to be considered.
Yeah, I see a lot of companies looking at the differences in the culture, and engagement is different in different countries, absolutely. But I think the bottom line for all of this is that it's related to everybody as a human being, right? And so everybody wants to thrive at work and do really well at work. And it doesn't matter what country you're in. Don't you want your employees to love what they do? So I think on some level, working on engagement supersedes even these cultural differences on some level.
All right.
Does anybody want to address the budget part of Paul's question? Basically, what was it? The best practice in budgeting, right, for engagement?
Yeah.
I think we'll see a lot of these questions coming up, because I think a lot of the questions that have been coming forward are around the finances and, how do you plan for that? I can just jump in here real quick and say that, it's important that companies understand when they see the impact on the bottom line of working with engagement, it has a very positive and direct effect, and that makes it easier for them to be able to budget it. But you have to really be concrete about this.
Yeah, and it's case to case, because for some companies, the way they look at it is since there is really no limit or fixed budget per se, what they really like to spend time on is the cost of disengagement. And they'd like to be able to base this or to base planning on the cost of disengagement and make it like part of the risk mitigation going into the future. Because of the huge people-centered industries right now in my country, particularly the business process outsourcing industries, which accounts for the largest foreign currency remittance inflow into the country right now, the cost of disengagement becomes really a big factor. That's why some of my clients are asking, how do we fare? How do we fare? What's the best practice outside in apportioning? So one insight that I gathered from asking the question and what I'm hearing from the group is, another way to look at it is try to understand what's the cost of this engagement to your company, and then plan around that.
Mm. You just reminded me of something when you were talking there, Paul. Some companies track cost of poor quality, and it could be in the sense of production losses or whatever it may be, client losing customers, that sort of thing. And if you can do that for a period of time, maybe a year or more, then you start to develop a picture of what it's actually costing your organisation. And once you have that, then it gives you a basis to invest on improving it. So that could be one way of doing it.
Thanks, Brett.
And also, typically
Go ahead. Go ahead, Farrell.
When budgeting, we would want to really look at the sort of discovery as a start, right, within the company where the engagement issue really kind of resides, and have a really honest and sort of fair assessment is a really good start to figure out how the budgeting would go, especially when the company's operational situation can be quite different. So understanding the disengagement costs, where you really don't have much resources to start. We all know that you don't really need, a huge budget to address the key engagement issues as a start. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Not boiling the ocean. It's really getting a fair assessment as the beginning.
Right.
Yeah, and that's an excellent point too, Pearl, is that you don't need a huge budget to get started with this. It really, that's that people sometimes, I think, overcomplicate it. So, I'm a big advocate of trying to keep it as simple as possible.